Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I'm actually going to be going over something I didn't expect to be making a video on here, but we do actually have a little sale going on for Roblox for Black Friday. So yeah, let's get started. And Black Friday sales have been something that happened quite a few years ago, obviously during the Black Friday time, where they kind of brought back things, released some things, put things on discounts, and made some things limited. And they kind of tried to do one a bit more recently with the 8-bit Antlers, Orange Peel Fedora, where they brought those back on sale and they made them limited. So I think this is kind of going to be a similar case to that, where they're going to bring a few items back on sale and then possibly afterwards they might make them limited, but who knows. They haven't mentioned limited here, but they might go limited since it seems like that's what they've been doing a lot recently, especially for the events for their limited time items. So who knows if these actually will go limited afterwards. It is a high likelihood there, but they haven't mentioned it, so these could just stay off sale. Right over here, Roblox did tweet about it. It says each day for the next week we'll be bringing back one classic item for 24 hours only, starting now with the blue steel antlers. So here we have a couple of information here that they're going to be releasing one thing each day for the next week. So we have around 7 items is what is probably expected here. Another important thing here is it's going to bring back one classic item, so probably one that is either older or one that returned in sales quite often. So I think those things are something to look forward to. And also it says 24 hours only for each item. So right over here, blue steel antlers is the first item. This will go off sale 24 hours and then the next one will release right afterwards. So pretty interesting case there. So let's talk about this first item here, the blue steel antlers. This was actually, I think, usually 20,000, so it's a bit more, only 2,000 more, which is a very expensive item, so 2,000 more is not really that big of a difference. It was a pretty common item to return during sales, but of course it was pretty expensive, so it didn't actually get that many owners. But I think the problem with bringing back items nowadays is that they just have way too much Robux in circulation, so they're just going to get a lot of owners. These actually had around 450 owners before they returned, and now they already got over 1,000 sales today. So these are clearly not going to be as rare as they once were, and that's pretty unfortunate. I think that is definitely something to keep in mind, especially if these do go limited afterwards, that they're not going to do as well if they just went limited right away. So that's pretty unfortunate that pretty much everything that they bring back on sale is just going to become very common, but that's just how it is because they haven't done sales in a couple of years, so now people just have a bunch of Robux with nothing to spend it on. So a lot of these are just going to get a ton of owners. So I'm hoping they don't bring anything super rare back personally, because it's just going to get ruined and it's not going to be rare anymore. But I think it would be cool to see some of those cheaper, more common things return that people missed out on when sales were happening back in the day. So I think some of those would be pretty cool to see. I would only buy this if you really just have a lot of spare Robux. If it goes off sale, that's pretty cool. If it goes limited, it might struggle a bit. So just keep in mind, this is definitely a risk here, especially with this price point. So it just depends on how much Robux you have and how much you're willing to risk on a more expensive item. But here, going over some little predictions, since they want to do classic stuff and things that are in sales commonly, these are a few of the things that they might choose. Starting off with bigger head, I think this is definitely one they might go for. It was 1,000 Robux during these sales most commonly, so I think it would probably return for around the same, maybe a little bit more. It has a lot of owners already, so it's not going to really have much of an impact if it returns. So pretty cool item. I definitely could see this one returning. Same case here with Dark Reaper. This one was actually one that was brought back quite often during the last few sales, so I can definitely see them bringing this one back. It was pretty affordable, I think 500, so I think it'll probably return for around the same as well. So pretty cool one. I could definitely see this one returning. Then we have the Amethyst Antlers. They already did blue steel antlers, but they might just end up doing another antler if they do want to. This is another pretty popular one during the sales, so this could be another one that returns. It was around 500 as well, so I would expect it to return for around the same. Then these are probably the biggest ones I think that are probably going to return. We do have the Warclock shades as well as the Warclock headphones. Obviously, if these return, they're going to get a ton of owners, so they're definitely not going to be as uncommon as they were before, but they are already just pretty common items in general, so it's not really going to be that huge of a loss. But we did just get the golden versions of these, so people might already have a copy and they might not be interested in them, so they might not get as many sales, but they're both still pretty cool. I could definitely see them returning during this week right over here. This one was around 10,000, so I would expect it to return for probably a little bit more, and this one was around 3,000. So those are probably the numbers that you want to have in terms of Robux if you want to get these, if they do end up returning. Next up, this is Lampshade here, which is a pretty classic one. It did return for sales sometimes, but it's definitely been a while since we've seen it, so they might not remember it exists. But this was, I think, the cheapest of the ones here, so it would probably return for maybe 100 Robux. So pretty affordable one. If it does come back, I think it would be pretty cool to see. Then we have Teot Hat, another classic one that returned returned during these sales. This one was actually pretty expensive. I think 13,000 was the last price it was at, so it could definitely be up there in terms of price, but it's a pretty cool one. Definitely not so bad if it does return. I think this would be one people are interested in. And the last two here are Frenemy and Headstack, two other classic returning items that were pretty common during these sales that I think they would probably choose to bring back. And I think they're both around 500, so I think they would probably return for around the same. So those are the most likely options here for returns, just things that are older, but things that are returned often during these sales. So I think those are probably what we're going to be seeing here. They might throw in a surprise item or two, but I think that is generally the batch that they're going to choose from there. Something interesting here to also add on is this Platinum Domino crown released just a few days ago, and it is speculated it is here for the sale that it will release. I'm not sure if it will be on sale, as they didn't mention any new on sales during their tweet, but they could put it on sale on a Black Friday for a limited time and then make it limited. That is a possibility. Or they could do what they've been doing, where they could put it on the buy Robux page, where you'll have to buy a specific amount of Robux to get it, which I think is probably the likeliest option, but we'll have to see here. It's a pretty cool one. It's just the regular Domino crown but in a white color, so it's not too bad. But once again, a lot of these newer items just get tons of sales, so it's not going to be rare, I would assume, but still pretty cool item here that is probably going to be related somewhat to this little sale that they're doing. So yeah, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this Black Friday sale, and if you're excited to get anything that might return here. Obviously, I would just say as a general caution that a lot of these items are not going to be as rare as they once were, so if you do want to buy them and expect them to profit, it may be a bit of a struggle there depending on what price they return for, but I still think it's nice to get some of these things that you might have missed out on if you weren't online back in the day when Roblox was doing these sales. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.